Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Destination Next, a series of programs in which we will explore new and exciting places around the Greater Toronto area. I'm your host Bilal Tahir, but I'm not the only one on this exciting journey. With me, I have my fellow explorers.
And you are watching Destination Next.
A new destination, well, fascination. We'll go exploring a new creation. See to feel Earth, travel around the world. See to feel Earth, travel around the world. So here we go, a new destination, some inspiration, a little agitation, more complication. We'll push our minds for some formulation. We'll go exploring a new destination. Destination Next.
In this show, us kids will travel around the GTA to learn about the environment that surrounds us. Exploring is promoted in the Jamaat because in the Holy Quran, Allah had laid great emphasis on traveling.
Say, travel in the earth and see how He originated the creation. Then will Allah provide the latter creation. Surely Allah has power over all things.
Previously on Destination Next.
Those are actually called canoes. They were used by the First Nations for traveling and have a long history in Canada.
Wow, that's such a big dinosaur!
Yes, that's the Photolongosaurus.
This is like the biggest dinosaur here.
Yes, it is.
You'll find one of the earliest forms of Arabic script, which is Kufic script, and that's here on this very large marble slab. So Bilal, Nawal, we're here now in the storage behind the scenes. Not many people get to come here, so it's quite special. I think we're all ready now, and we've got our gloves on.
But why do we have gloves on anyway?
The reason we have to wear these gloves is when we handle the objects, when we touch the objects, we don't want the dirt or the salt or the oils from our hands to go on the object. So it's a way of protecting the objects. I'm really happy that you're wearing them. Now, first question. Is there anything on this table that reminds you of something that we saw just now in the galleries?
This plate has the same colors, shape, size, but the different design.
Perfect. So this is an Iznik plate. It was made in a city called Iznik in Turkey, and it comes from the Ottoman period. And many Iznik plates were made, and they were the factories that made Iznik, they were funded by the government, by the Ottoman Sultan, and he wanted to make sure that all the plates look different, but at the same time look similar. So anytime you saw one of these plates, you'd say, ah, this is an Iznik plate from Ottoman Turkey. So good point. Now, besides that, I've got all kinds of things here. I've got musical instruments, I've got paintings, I've got religious objects, but is there anything in particular that you'd like me to talk about?
I'd like to see the dolls.
Ah, okay. Have a look at these. You're correct. They are dolls. Can you see the details of their faces?
That looks like an eye.
Yes.
There are lots of circles.
There are a lot of circles. The circles are used to make hair, to make the face, to make the eyes. Now, how old do you think these dolls are?
A long time ago?
2 centuries?
These dolls are so old. They were made in the 9th or 10th century in Egypt. And do you know what they were made of?
Wood?
Looks
Sand?
like wood.
Maybe bamboo.
They were made from a bone of a camel.
Really?
So they were made from camel bone. So they're from Fatimid Egypt, and they're made from camel bone. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is all you see is this little doll here, but no clothes. That's because it's such an old doll, and it was excavated in an archaeological site, so all the textiles have disappeared. This doll probably even had jewelry. She probably even had earrings on, which is why you see the piercings here. Many of these dolls had movable arms as well, and some of them even had dark black bitumen, which was used for the hair.
What's bitumen?
Bitumen is a kind of organic, goopy black substance that people often used in ancient times. Now, what's interesting is this doll here. You see this doll? So she's got a beautiful dress, and she's got a lovely veil, and she's got beads, a nice headdress made of beads. But she too is made from camel bone. And I bought this doll this year when I went to Oman in March.
Really?
Yeah. So basically, you're looking at a really ancient doll made of camel bone, and you're looking at a doll that was made this year in Oman. So that there are some traditions that are carried on. And this is a nice example of one of them.
It looks really similar.
Looks
I have
similar.
another question. How come they only use like circles and dots? Why not squares or triangles? Like, see, it's all the patterns are made out of circles. Why?
Yeah, it was one of the reasons why they used circles is you can imagine how hard it is to carve one of these bones. And what they've probably used is a punch, which is a little tool. It looks a bit like a nail with a circle on the bottom. And they probably used a little hammer, and they probably punched the holes. So you can see a repetition of holes that they've made, these little circles. And it was probably easier for them to do circles. But that's a really good question. Now, we talked a little bit about old becoming new. I'm going to tell you another story about old becoming new. What do you guys think this stuff is?
Fossils? Coral? I don't
Fossils, coral. Can someone have a smell? Do you smell anything?
This doesn't smell.
Okay, how about this? How about this?
Is it like powder or food powder?
Smell this. Does that smell?
Yeah, that smells good.
Smells good? What does it smell? If you had to describe it to people watching, what does it smell like?
Smells like flowers, maybe?
Flowers, perfume. Okay, so this stuff is called frankincense. Have you ever heard of frankincense? Sometimes it's called loban as well.
I've smelled the smell before.
Yeah, so frankincense comes from a tree. It's a resin of a tree. And frankincense has been cultivated and traded for thousands and thousands of years. You can find frankincense in Yemen and in southern Oman, which is where I brought this from. But the only way it really smells is if you burn it. So if you wanted to burn this, what would you need?
Fire.
You'd need fire. But now, what would you use to put this in order to light it?
This thing?
Yes, you would put it in an incense burner. This is a really, really old incense burner. It comes from 6th century BC, so it's super old, okay? But because it is such a practical object, and you would put hot coals inside, and then you would put a few pieces of frankincense, and then the frankincense would burn, so you would have a lovely smoke. And it's the same with this. This is called bukhur. It's a kind of wood with frankincense, with perfumes, with essential oils. That's why it smells so good.
Is that how candles are made? Or like
Candles are a little bit different because candles are made from wax, and they have a little wick, and then you burn the wick. These are natural objects that you have to burn.
Word of the day.
A necklace?
A necklace.
is it for like counting how many times you read a prayer or something?
They are prayer beads. It's huge, isn't it? It's gigantic. What do you think it's made of?
What?
It's made of wood. So these are individually carved beads from wood. And do you know how many beads you'll normally find on prayer beads? Sometimes we call them tasbees. Yeah? Is that what you call them? Yeah.
I don't know how many.
Any thoughts?
100?
99.
So close.
99. Now, why would you pick the number 99?
Because Allah has 99.
Thank you. That was brilliant, Nawal. Because Allah has 99 beautiful names. So every time you recite one of His names, you can turn one of the beads. I mean, this is very large and it's rather impractical. Would you see yourself putting this in your pocket?
No.
Not really. So it's more of a decoration. But it was made in Egypt or in Africa in the 19th century, and it's a beautiful example of prayer beads. Does anybody know what this is?
Arabic scripture?
Arabic scripture.
Seems like the Quran written on it.
Very good, Bilal. It's exactly that. So this is also from Africa, from the 19th century, and it's a carved Quran board. So when you went to Quran school in West Africa in the 19th century, the early 20th century, you wouldn't write on paper. The teacher would pass around pages of the Quran, just pages, and you would copy them out so that you could learn to memorize the Quran. So you would copy, copy, copy. In this case, we have the 8th surah from the Quran, Surat al-Anfal. And you have verses 1 to 59 on one side, and then the following, then it starts with verse 60 to the end on the other side. And oftentimes what you did is, as a way of moving on to the next chapter, you would have to use water and erase what you've just written. All of this ink would have to be erased.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fahmida. You made us learn so much about art and culture and even history too.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I hope you come again and again to the ROM.
Chinese architecture, Rome, Egypt? Cool, they even have a mummy. We need to come back and explore the rest of the museum. Join us again on Destination Next. Khudafiz!
Next time on Destination Next.
Wow! It's a donkey!
Of course it's not a donkey, it's a cattle.
Really? Oh.
So a lot of the times, animals in a zoo will live longer than they do in the wild.
Jazakallah for watching. We hope that you liked our episode today. You can also get creative and share with us your pictures and drawings for a chance to win Destination Next souvenir. Also, tell us where you'd like to explore next on Twitter and Instagram at MTA Canada. We look forward to hearing from you.
A new destination, what fascination. We'll go exploring a new creation. Siru fil ard, travel around the world. Siru fil ard, travel around the world. So here we go, a new destination. Some inspiration, a little agitation, more complication. We'll push our minds for some formulation. We'll go exploring a new destination. Destination Next.